Hello, welcome or welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all of the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Welcome today. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet, weaving, all of the fibre arts related things. But today's video is a little bit of a catch-up video on my 12 cast-ons. So if you're new here, you might be thinking, what the blinking heck is she talking about? Well, every year around the end of the year, so sort of Christmas time, overlapping into the new year, I sit down and on 12 consecutive days I cast on 12 new projects, and there is a video playlist for my 12 cast-ons, and I'll link the first video in that playlist up above on the screen now. It explains a little bit more in detail why I do this and how it sort of come about and how it's evolved over the last few years. So if you're interested in finding out about that and you haven't watched that video, then you can hop on back and watch that video should you choose to do so. But I thought, as we're now in July, we have passed the halfway mark of the year, it might be fun to do a quick little catch-up video of where I am at, with regards to the projects that I cast on back at the end of December and the beginning of January. Also an opportunity for me to think about what I might need to do should I decide that I wish to try and strive for that goal of getting all 12 of my projects off the needles before the end of the year. So yeah, a quick check-in to see what I've got left to do and what I've already achieved. Then at the end of the video, I shall also be drawing for the second quarter of our 12 make-alongs prize draw. So watch out for that if you are taking part in the make-along. Now I'm going to be using my playlist on YouTube to help me remember what projects I cast on what day, and we'll try and go through them in order. Day one I cast on the winter deer socks. Also I should say there might be a few cuts in this video because I have not been organised. The sensible thing would be to gather all of the bits that I needed for this video, but I've just sat down on a whim and started recording, and this might mean that we're also in the midst of an episode of Treasure Hunt, where instead of challenging Annika, we're challenging Angela. That's showing my age, isn't it? If you're from the UK of my age or older, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to be jumping out of any helicopters, but I might be running around the house trying to locate various projects. So let's stop the waffle and get on. Off on a tangent already. Okay, so day one, winter deer socks, should be in a project bag behind me. Bear with. This is also going to be a memory test because all of my works in progress are in project bags behind me. Which project is in which bag? Winter deer socks, I think, might be in this bag. Yes, one for one. So this is a lovely bag that was made for me by my dear friend Jeanette, and it is housing the first project that I cast on, which is the winter deer socks, a pattern by Charlotte Stone, who is Stone Knits, and I'm knitting mine from some lovely John Arbon Exmoor sock. And this is not a very auspicious start, is it? Project number one, and I've not worked on it since the first day that I cast it on. So I have my lovely progress keeper, which was a gift from Judith. Hi Judith, mwah, thank you so much for these beautiful stitch markers. Judith sent me 12 of these wooden progress keepers, I should say, with numbers on them so I could keep track of my 12 cast-ons. So yeah, day one, and this is what I knit, and no more has occurred since then. Yeah. But that's okay because with 6 months to go in the year, I'm fairly sure I can finish a pair of socks. And actually I'm looking for a project to work on alongside my current sweater project. So a sock project will be quite a good one for when I want to take a break from those long rows. So I'm actually going to keep that project to one side because that might actually come down with me and get worked on straight away. We shall see. We'll see what else we've got in this little selection. So that was day one. Day two, I cast on my mid-coast sweater. Okay, so sweater project. Is it in here? Is it in here? No. Ah, this one? No. Mid-coast, where are you? Come on. No, not that one either. Oh, it's got to be this one. It has to be this one. Oh. Ah. Yeah. That one's coming up later. I felt sure. I'm running out of project bags. Oh my god, this is a disaster. Time to cut while I find this project. Okay, talk about car crash podcasting. Should be more organised. Right, Mid-Coast sweater was in the absolute last project bag that I looked in. So this is a pattern by Jen Steingass. I'm keeping this in a beautiful project bag that was gifted to me by Kate. Thank you so much, Kate. I'm knitting mine on Cartrev yarn. And project number 2 is also a project that has not seen the light of day since I cast it on. This is going to be the least interesting video ever at this rate. I promise there are some finished objects and there are some projects that have made some progress. I promise. Please hang in there. So yeah, not much work went into this project. Or I mean, I say that this is a 4-ply sweater, so that's a reasonable amount of work for a day's on and off knitting. Not much happening with this one, but also I remember I need a bit of thinking time with this one because I may be entirely ripping back what I did on the first day. I have 3 beautiful colours of Cartrev to play with. Before I cast my sweater on, I was looking through the project pages and I remember seeing a project that someone had knit in this pattern using similar colours where they'd started with their dark grey and sort of played with the colour work chart and faded into the orange in a slightly different way than is kind of written in the pattern, and I really liked the look of that. So I think before I carry on with that project, I'm going to revisit that project page that I noted to see if I want to sort of play around with that sweater and start again. So a 4-ply sweater in my size is going to take quite some time to knit. So I think I'm still concentrating on my Aliba Linde sweater at the moment, but again we still have 5.5 months of the year left. So as soon as Aliba Linde is either finished, we appear to have a helicopter flying overhead. I think I'm going to start working on my Mid-Coast because if I leave this one until December, it's not going to get finished. And revisiting these projects and looking at the beautiful progress keepers from Judith is another incentive to try and get all of these projects off the needles within the year, because then I can reuse the entire set of those numbered progress keepers again when I cast on for this year's 12. So 2 projects from days 1 and 2, neither of which has seen any progress, let alone been finished. Let's hope things improve from here. So day 3 is Moose, and Moose is downstairs. I'll be back. Okay, so yay, I have a finished project. So this is the Moose pattern by Susan B. Anderson, which was originally published in an issue of Making magazine, and I knit mine from a British Breeds box from Charlie Button Yarns. And if you're interested in getting a British Breeds box to make this or any other project, then you'll find some over on the Yarn and Yarns website. Little plug for my website there. I used all but one of the colours in that British Breeds box. Charlie very kindly put together a custom box for me in the quantities that I needed for this project, but I substituted one of the colours and added in some hand-spun in green for the colour work on Moose's jumper. So yeah, that was such a great pattern. Susan B. Anderson's patterns, if you've never knit one before, are just really well detailed and just a joy to knit. She designs quite a few toy patterns. She does do other patterns too, but I think she's most well known for her toy patterns. And I love Moose and I love my finished Moosey. So yeah, day 3, project finished, thumbs up. The statistics are getting a bit better. 3 days done, 1 project finished. Day 4 was my Hitchhiker, and that's also downstairs. Oh dear, this video is going to keep me fit, if nothing else, running up and down the stairs. I should have been more organised, but hey, you wouldn't want me just sat here waffling at you without moving, would you? That's not good for my health. So off to find my Hitchhiker. I'll be back. Oh my goodness, too many stairs. Right. Had to take a moment to catch my breath then. So this is my Hitchhiker, and it is another finished project. So thanks to Moose and Hitchhiker, we're pulling things back. So 4 days in, and we are 50-50 finished objects versus untouched projects. So yeah, Hitchhiker by Martina Bem. I think probably everyone in the knitting world has maybe knit one of these. I modified mine and put an eyelet row in every few pattern repeats. I used an entire skein of yarn that was so very kindly gifted to me by my dear friend Erin, and Erin had this yarn custom dyed for me. Such a special gift, and this skein had been living with me for I think over a year before I decided to cast it on. I had been admiring it in my stash, but then decided that it really needed to be used and loved, and I am going to wear the heck out of this shawl once shawl season comes around, because I absolutely adore this colourway. I still need, this one's for you Zoe, still need to weave my 2 ends in but I haven't worn it yet. I know how much you love to see those dangly ends. So yeah, 4 days in, 2 projects finished. I'm feeling a bit better about things after that rocky start. So day 5, we had the Selbu socks. So Selbu socks, I'm fairly sure, are in this bag, although we know how reliable my memory is on that count. Yes, here they are. So this is a project bag. I'm not sure if the maker sells independently. So this was made by Charlie's sister, so Charlie of Charlie Button Yarns. I picked this up off of Charlie's stall that she had at one of the Knit Tea retreats, and it's a beautiful pinstripe grey on the outside with orange pinstripe in the middle, and I thought this was a perfect colour combination to house my Selbu socks. And Selbu socks are a pattern by Skein Deer Knits, and sadly we're going back. Our trend is reversing the other way again, and this is another project that has not been picked up since I cast it on day 5 of my cast-ons adventure. So I'm just going to flip that progress keeper out of the way so you can see the beautiful patterning emerging on that sock. So this again could be a contender, a little project to work on alongside my sweater project. However, I think I'm more inclined to pick up the Winter Deer socks at the moment, just because the Aliba Linde sweater that I'm working on is quite highly textured, or at least the part that I'm working on at the moment. So switching between a have to concentrate on highly textured sweater knit to an all over colourwork sock doesn't give the brain much of a break. So although the Winter Deer socks are colourwork, their colourwork chart is quite small, and then you go into a sort of plain section for the sort of body and heel of the sock. So I think at the moment Winter Deer beats out Selbu, so I'm going to put Selbu back on the shelf. So far we've got a mix of projects that are either 100% finished, apart from ends needing to be woven in, or haven't been touched. Not sure what that says. Okay, so let's see which way we go with the next one. So day 6 was the Aurealis sweater, and that is up here, so I don't need to move very far. And yes, we are pulling back on the finished objects front. So yeah, and this was in reach, which was nice. Little break from me running around gathering projects. So another pattern by Jennifer Steingarth, who is Knit Love Wool, I think, everywhere online, and it's a beautiful colourwork yoke sweater. I used a combination of my hand-spun yarn for the contrast in the yoke, and then the main lovely navy body of this sweater is from Midwinter Yarns. They're black and blue yarn, which is a Welsh produced or Welsh sourced yarn, and I use the Captain's Coat colourway for the main body of my sweater, and yay, thank goodness for starting a double knit sweater which knit up quite quickly and was very addictive. I loved knitting this sweater. So yeah, really happy to have one of my sweater projects from the 12 cast-ons finished. So what are we, halfway through, and that's 3 finished objects and 3 not touched objects, so 50-50. I guess that's pretty good. Right, okay, so day 7 was my crochet basket project, and if you have watched the channel for any length of time, you may already recall that this project actually got frogged. I found it was just too difficult on my hands. I love crochet, but crochet does not love me. I have to be very careful with what I crochet. It can really aggravate my wrist, and my wrist can get quite painful, and the gauge that I was working at for this project just was not agreeing with me, so I decided to be kind to myself, and I actually frogged that project. Sadly, as happens sometimes with my 12 cast-ons, that project is not to be. Day 8 is my Ursa sweater, which is a pattern by Jacqueline Slack, and I know I spotted that in one of these bags earlier. Honestly, memory. Yes, this one. So we're going back to the other extreme again, and this is another project which actually should be quite a quick knit once I get back to it, but I haven't touched it since I cast it on day 8. There's my little progress keeper. So this is the baby beginnings of an Ursa sweater, which is a bulky, a chunky weight sweater, fairly cropped, I think, if my memory serves me right. Pattern by Jacqueline Slack, and you start knitting backwards and forwards, and then you join at some point. I think I'm quite near the point where I join to knit in the round. I know, given the weight of this yarn, it's a really light yarn as well. It's one of those sort of chainette constructions that's quite airy. You can see there's loads of stretch in there. So yeah, I know that this is going to knit up really quickly when I get back to it, but I'm just not in the mood to knit a bulky sweater at the moment. However, in terms of my sort of loose goal to finish my projects by the end of the year, we've got 6 months left to go. So far I've got 2 pairs of socks, which should really take no time at all, and a 4-ply sweater, which is going to take some effort, and a bulky sweater, which I think will probably take a month at the most to finish once I start going on that. So I'm still feeling reasonably confident that I could get these projects finished by the end of the year. Day 9, hand-spun socks. These were my socks from my Advent yarn or my Advent fibre from Caroline. It's going to be another challenge Angela moment while I find this project. Bear with me. I tell you, it is quite warm, or getting quite warm now here in Wales. It's a very changeable weather day, but when it warms up, it gets really hot up here in the attic, and running up and down the stairs doesn't help. Be more prepared, Angela, be more prepared. Advice for your future self. So, hand-spun socks, which I think, were we up to day 10? I've completely forgotten. Between running up and down the stairs and, yeah, grabbing projects. So these were some hand-spun socks that I knit from some fibre that I spun up during Advent, that was dyed and sent to me by my dear friend Caroline of Colourful Creativity. I've worn these socks quite a few times now. This was my experiment to see whether I could get away with a 2-ply sock yarn, because I can't seem to still quite spin a fine enough 3-ply. So yeah, I thought I'd try an experiment and see if 2-plies would hold up to wear, and so far so good. 6 months in, I have worn these socks quite a few times. There is some sign of pilling, which I'm not sure is going to sort of show up on the camera, probably not, but this is quite a nice sort of soft yarn, so I would say no more pilling than I would expect to see from a indie dyed pair of socks, for the way that I wear them. So yeah, happy with these socks, and I'm happy with how they're holding up so far. So yeah, back on track with another finished project. Woohoo! So yeah, that was day 10. So where are we? Day 11 was my new moon slipper socks, which are also finished, and I spotted those up here. So another project from my hand-spun yarn. These are the new moon slipper socks, which is a pattern of Ellie from Curio Stitches, and I knit these from some Polworth fibre that I spun up. That was a lovely gift. The fibre was a gift from Martin of Knit365 here on YouTube, and yeah, I knit these up and have worn them again a few times. I wish to use these entirely as slippers. I wish I had made them slightly bigger so that I could get a pair of slightly thicker socks on underneath. So yeah, that's the only change that I would make if I knit these again. But it's a lovely sort of textured pattern across the top of the foot and up the short leg, and yeah, not too much else to say about those. Another of my 12 cast-ons finished, quite a small project, another small project. So yeah, that's pretty good, pretty good. And that leaves one more project. Ah, I've missed one out. I knew something had gone awry. So new moon slipper socks were actually day 11. Day 10 is the letterpress cowl. So let me grab those. So yeah, ignore what I've just said. New moon slipper socks day 11, day 10 letterpress. So yes, another project that has not seen any work since I cast it on. This is some absolutely glorious yarn that I purchased from my dear friend Angie of Thick Skein, and this is her non-superwash Peruvian Highland Peruvian wool. And this was the ginger snap colourway, yeah. So that's the Thick Skein label, based, as I say, over in the US, and I'm knitting the letterpress cowl by Carrie Westerman. However, I am on the verge of also rethinking this project. I absolutely love this yarn, and I bought enough to make this cowl's quite a big sort of thick cowl. I've got the pattern in the book here. Let me see if I can quickly find it for you. But I purchased more yarn than I needed for the cowl, with the thoughts that maybe I would make a pair of mitts or some hats or something else, some hats or a hat, or something else to sort of go with the cowl. But I have this, so there we go, it's quite a big sort of chunky warm cowl. But now I'm wondering, because this is a sort of thicker weight yarn. Is it a DK or is it worsted? I cannot remember. It's worsted. I am wondering whether I will actually wear a big sort of chunky worsted weight cowl. I don't think we have enough cold days for me to perhaps make as much use of this as I would like. And I think I need to go back and recalculate, but I may have got just enough with the extra that I bought to knit something like the Felix sweater, because I did buy several skeins. So yeah, that's what's on my mind at the moment. I may be misremembering how much of the yarn that I purchased. I've got the rest in a bag over in the box there. So I need to pull that out and have a think about it. But I think either way, that project is going to get frogged, and something else will be made with that yarn, because like I say, I just adore that yarn, and I want to knit it up into something that I know I'm going to use a lot. And as much as I love the design of the letterpress cowl, I'm just not sure that I'm going to wear it that much. So that was day 10, socks for day 11. Day 12 is another pair of socks. So the last project is my Hope socks, living in this lovely pouch that was an exclusive to Yarndale, and I am knitting the Yarndale exclusive yarn as well. This is the Hope colourway from West Yorkshire Spinners, and I am knitting basically a plain vanilla sock, and I'm doing a slip stitch row every time the colour changes. So really just a plain vanilla sock. I have made a teeny tiny little bit of progress. So this marker progress keeper here shows where it was after the first day, and I've added a couple of extra stripes while I was sort of out and about one day, I think, or I needed a quick project to grab and take with me to the beach. So not too much progress on those, but again, not too far once I really get going on that. And that could be a contender. So I've got two projects that are sort of contenders to pick up and work on now, although I'm still leaning towards Winter Deer, because if I finish what are basically the vanilla socks, I'll have 2 colourwork socks left on the go. So I think it might be more sensible to work on the Winter Deer. Yes, talked myself into it. Right, so there we have it. That's my very chaotic wrap up of my 12 cast ons. So 12 projects cast on, so 5 projects finished, 5 projects left, 2 projects frogged, 3 socks, 2 sweaters left. Can I do it? 6 months, I reckon. Gonna give myself a little confidence boost. I'm gonna give myself the benefit of the doubt. If I don't get too distracted by other things, 2 sweaters and 3 pairs of socks is definitely doable. I keep saying 6 months, but it's basically 5.5 months. Can I do it? Let me know in the comments below. Cheer me on. Let's do this. And of course, in the comments below, let me know if you joined in with the 12 cast-ons, how you're getting on with yours. Have you finished them all? Have you, like me, got quite a few that you haven't touched since you cast on? Do you think you'll get yours finished? Let's chat about it below, all the fun things. I'm going to go off now and draw the winner for our second quarter prize. I'll probably do that tomorrow and then edit the things together. So I'm going to sign off from my chattiness here. I hope you will join me again for the next video. I promise it won't be quite as chaotic as this one, maybe. If you're taking part in our year-long knit along for the 12 cast-ons, stay tuned, because I'll pop the prize draw footage in after this. But I'm going to sign off from my chattiness today, so I hope you will join me for the next video. But until we get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do all of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. So I promised I would be back with the winner of the second quarter prize draw for the make along, and I made a little list of everyone who had finished projects between the end of March or the beginning of April and the end of June, and that was a list compiled from Instagram, Ravelry, and anyone who emailed or messaged me in any way, shape or form. And the winner is Sue Davies Knits. So congratulations, Sue. When you see this, please get in contact with me. I will be sending you this amazing copy of Pom Pom magazine that was recently donated to my prize pot by the lovely Caroline of Colourful Creativity. So Sue, I'd love to send this to you. So yeah, just message me when you receive this. And Sue finished her 9th cast on, which is a lovely Hitchhiker, and if I remember, I'll try and grab a screenshot of that and pop it up on the screen now.